This is Rugby Merlin and welcome back to the channel. It's been a great Six Nations so far, lots of highs and lows, but I will say that Ireland have been by far and away the most dominant team. So I just wanted to have a look and see after the first 2 weeks if there are any non-Irish players who would get in the Lions starting 15. And I think that's a fair question to ask. You know, obviously Farrell is the coach and, I'm sure he's not going to play favourites, but with Ireland's kind of dominance over the first 2 weeks of the tournament, you have to ask the question, and I think it's a good one. So, as always, my videos are very scientific. I've created a pie chart and not a flow chart. No, but I haven't. I've written down all the players that play in a position for the home nations and the Irish team, and I'm going to compare them and see who I think could make actually the Lions starting 15. Now I'll mention some players who are definitely going to go on tour, but that's a different kettle of fish. Lions tours are not what they used to be. They're not as many games. It used to be like a 3-month thing, but they've reduced it to like a month and a half, 6 weeks or something. And but that's okay. I think we'll just talk today about the starting 15. And if all things being equal, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to just go off the players who played and who were fit in the last game. So it's going to be interesting to see how many players can break through this Irish kind of dominance really of the selection. So let's take a look. I'll start in the front row as any good team should, and I will say that Porter has had a brilliant Six Nations so far, and he's by far and away the first choice for the test. It's not really even worth getting into the other tight heads. Genge is definitely going on tour, but he's not going to be the starter. On to Hooker, number 2. Now that's a more interesting conversation. Kelleher for Ireland has played all right. He's done his job, but he hasn't really stood out. But then none of the other hookers have really. You got Cowan Dickey, Cherry, and then Lloyd for Wales. But I think Kelleher is a good shout. But with the Irish hooker position, you have Sheehan, Dan Sheehan. If he is fit, which he looks like he's coming back into fitness now, he still needs a couple of games under his belt, I think. But I'm trying to base this off the 2 previous games, so I think I would probably still pick him as a Lions test starter. So that's number 1 and number 2 as Ireland. So he's doing pretty well so far. Number 3, Bealham, Will Stewart, Zander Ferguson and Thomas from Wales. Now, I'm not a big fan of Bealham. I think he's done all right in the first 2 games, but Zander Ferguson, I think, would be the first player, non-Irish player, that will break through into that Lions team. And so that's going to be my front row. Porter, Sheehan and Zander Ferguson. So not a bad front row there, actually. Into the second row, again, okay, let's skip to number 5, Tadhg Beirne. He's definitely in. I mean, that's 100%. So you got number 4, I guess the loose headlock. You got Ryan, Maro Itoje, Jamie Gray and Will Rowlands. Again, I think any of those guys could go on tour and do a good job, but I would go definitely with Maro because of his experience. He's cleaned up his game a little bit against France in this tournament, but that's the thing with him. He's become a little bit of a liability with penalties, but I think maybe he'll get a nod, and I would choose him just for the experience, and I trust him actually to clean up his game and not give away reckless penalties, and I think he can do that. He can raise his game to do it. So I'd have Maro and Tadhg Beirne as the second rows. Into the back row, again, signed, sealed, delivered. Doris is 8. so only 6 and 7 you've got to really worry about. Omani played 6 against Scotland, and I thought he did all right, but the closest you got really is Curry, Tom Curry, who had a great game against France. So he might get in the 6. Van der Vliet at the open side. And I think that Jack Morgan is the only Welsh player I'm going to choose that will get a start. So because I'm Welsh, maybe I'm biased, I'll give Jack Morgan 7, Doris 8. Number 6, I'm going to go unconventional. I'm going to go Jack Conan. So he's on the bench now, actually, for Ireland. But he's such a good player, such brilliant footwork, and such an intelligent player that I'm going to put Conan in at 6. So I'll have 6 Conan, 7 Morgan, and 8 Doris. And I think that would be a formidable back row. Moving into 9 and 10, I mean, at 9, there's not really much discussion, is there? I mean, Gibson Park, it has to be the starting 9. I mean, he's had such a phenomenal first couple of games. And at the moment, he's on such a rich vein of form. Since he came to terms with his hair loss and shaved off what was left of his hair, he's been in phenomenal form, and he's absolutely lock-in. Number 9, Gibson Park. Number 10, this is interesting. So Pendergast, it kind of burst onto the scene. He had man of the match against Scotland, but he's up against Finn Smith, another a youngster, and then Russell and Ben Thomas, I guess for Wales, even though he's not really an outside half. But I guess it's between Pendergast and Finn Russell, and I would choose Pendergast. I got to be honest. So Ireland get another win there and get Pendergast in at 10. At the centre position, it's a really tough call because you got Aki and Henshaw played against Scotland, but you also got Ringrose on the bench. So Ireland have 3 fantastic centres there. You got for England Slade and Lawrence. I really do like Ollie Lawrence, and he'll play a big part in the Lions tour. But I'm not sure if he's really in the starting 15. And Jordan, Hugh Jones again, a fantastic player. The Wales centres, not really so. It's gonna be, I think, 2 Irish centres. I would go for Aki or Henshaw in the inside centre role, and then Ringrose outside centre. But Hugh Jones could get in there, but I'll have to give another 2 points to Ireland there. Just going for partnerships and continuity. You can't beat Ireland in that position. So last of all, we have the back 3, and another interesting one. I think Lowe and Van der Merwe are the 2 contenders at blindside wing 11. But Lowe, he's looking very, very dangerous. So you'd have to go with Lowe. So 1 for Ireland. At 15, Keenan, you have Marcus Smith. Marcus Smith will definitely go on tour without a doubt, but he can't even get the number 10 spot in his national side. So I think it's a big ask for him to get the 15 spot in the Lions test. So Keenan is up against really Kinghorn, I think, and Kinghorn, another definite for the tour, but will he get the starting spot? I think probably if he's going to pick Lowe, he's going to pick Keenan. That's the way it goes, just that continuity again. But Kinghorn might be in with the shout, if he has a really great rest of the Six Nations. But again, I'm just going off the first 2 matches, so I have to pick Keenan. On the wing, that's where the other nations have a chance, really. Nash was in there, and I do like Nash. He's a plucky youngster who always does his best. But I will go with Darcy Graham. Got a terrible injury, so he's probably going to be out for the tour. I think concussion issues is I think he's had too many injuries now. But Tom Rogers as well from Wales, actually, give him a shout out. One of the better Welsh players. But Freeman, I'll pick Tommy Freeman at right wing. So at 14, Freeman. So let's go through the side. So we got Porter, we got Sheehan, and we got Xander Ferguson in the front row. We got Maro Itoje and Byrne in the second row. In the back row, we got Jack Conan, Jack Morgan, and Doris in the back row. So that's going to be pretty tasty. Gibson Park and Pendergast, 9 and 10. We got Aki and Ringrose at 12 and 13. And then back three, we have Lowe, Keenan, and Tommy Freeman. Now that's a large majority of Irish players and I think it might be a record actually. I think the last record was set by the Welsh when Gartner was in charge in Australia. I think it was 10 start, and that's when they dropped O'Driscoll. So that would be a phenomenal achievement for the Irish side. But I think it's well deserved. Based on the performances so far in this year's Six Nations, there can be no arguments. And I think for the next 3 games, it's going to be incumbent on the players to actually prove that they deserve at least a shout at the starting spot, because these Irish players, they've shown already they're not going to give up the opportunity lightly, and it's going to take a big performance from these players from the other nations to push them out. So, I like it, competition. But that's my team. Let me know what you think. And I'll see you for the next video. All right, cheers. Bye-bye.